Hi, my name is Mary Ann Tabb, and today I'm going to speak with you about the Americans with Disability Act. Most of us think that it started on July 26th of 1990, but that's not the case. That is the day that it was signed into law, but there was so much stuff going on prior to that that a lot of us are not aware of. As a matter of fact, the timeline for the disabilities goes all the way back in time. The research that I did started actually in 3500 BC, but actually it started in biblical times where there was diseases of leprosy and demons. So disabilities have been around for a long time. We know about Helen Keller. So we know this has been going on for a really long time. But back in the 70s and the 80s, the movement really started to get going where folks were being discriminated against. They couldn't go to the theater. They couldn't get transportation. There was just a lot of stuff going on. So they went to Congress and they did a presentation. And actually, even Senator Ted Kennedy has a son with a disability. There was a Vietnam vet there that said, I took care of my country and I didn't take care of myself. And he could not get services because he was an amputee. So a lot of stuff was going on. And then because of all this work, then it was passed. The one thing that I thought was really cool in my research was this acronym that I came up with. And it's for autism. But listen to this. It says, always unique, totally interesting, and sometimes mysterious. And don't you think that's all of us? I really believe that it is. And I just thought that was a really cool acronym. What happens here is the problem. People don't understand folks with disabilities. Why do they not? They're uneducated. There's misconceptions. They're embarrassed of people with disabilities. Why? I don't know, but they are. They're afraid of people with disabilities, and there's really no reason to. And I think what was interesting is we need to learn to interact with folks with various disabilities. And one of the things we can do is speak to them directly. Do not start looking off and around and up and down. Speak directly, eye to eye, like we do everybody else. That's very important. We keep their space. Don't get in their space. We don't like our space invaded. These folks don't either. Don't help them unless they want the help. A lot of times folks are struggling, but they feel such an accomplishment if they can do this themselves. And so that's really important. The whole thing is treat them like people first, because we're people. So are people with various disabilities. They're people, and we need to treat them as such. There's actually an organization called People First, and I was involved in it, and it's a very wonderful program. The causes of disabilities. There's acquired, and the one we most are familiar with is congenital. The congenital is when they're born with it. It's in vitro. That's where you come with the mental retardation, the Asperger, the learning disabilities, those kind of things. And what happens with that, if you're born with that, you really don't know what you're missing. But then there becomes the acquired. The acquired happens from illnesses, lifestyle choices, aging, accidents. And a biggie with me is the accidents. You see adults out on motorcycles riding without helmets. That's just beyond my comprehension of that. Parents who do not have their children wearing helmets when they're on bicycles and skateboards. Because what happens is they fall, they get hurt, they get a head injury. From head injuries become all kinds of mental disorders, mood disorders. They can have head injuries that cause head trauma and anger issues. So many things can occur from head trauma, and because more disabilities come about. There's eating disorders, there's abuse, there's so many things that happen after birth that cause people to have disabilities. And it's just really important that we learn to see the different types of disabilities there are. Solutions? Oh my goodness, there's just what we need to do mostly is educate, educate, educate. And who do we need to educate? Everybody, the whole world. We need to educate employers. We need to educate the shopping centers and the theaters and the schools. Everybody, Congress and the president, everybody needs to understand that there are people out there with so many various disabilities. I believe, personally, everybody has some type of disability, and what that does, it interferes with some part of their life, some more than others. And so what we just need to educate people. We need to assist folks with various disabilities. We can help get them housing, schooling, voc rehab, assistive technology. That would be If they can't speak, then they can type on the computer to convey what they want. Help them with schools and help them get family support and education. We can do so much. Empower folks with disabilities. Empower them. Give them responsibility. Give them authority. Give them just sign them things. Let them do folks. Let them folks do stuff that they can do. Help with their activities of daily living. We know when we get up in the morning to brush your hair, brush your teeth, put our clothes on, give ourselves something to eat. A lot of times, some of these folks don't know to do that, so we can help them do that. We can help them with their activities of daily living. I think it's really cool that there are so many people that are famous that have disabilities. Tom Cruise, Robin Williams. We know about Alexander Graham Bell. We know about Mozart. There's so many people that have disabilities that you would never know. And that's the thing. You can support these folks, whether they're visible or non-visible disabilities. But when it all boils down to it, we need to be advocates for a person with disabilities. The big thing with me is I've been in a mama life. I have a family member. My sister has a niece. And with this old school thing, I had a grandmother who said that they needed to put my niece in an institution. I'm not saying anything wrong with institutions, but I personally believe there's other things out there that can better benefit a person than being in an institution. And I'm grateful that she didn't, because she's now in a program where she's getting speech therapy and physical therapy and art therapy and music therapy, and she's thriving, and she's doing a really, really good job just in life. We love her so much. And the other person is my very, very best friend, who's been my best friend for about 40 years. And she has what they call special needs adoptions. What these are children who come to her, and most of these children are disabled for the reason of abuse on the mother's part, physical abuse, drug, alcohol abuse, and because of this, in vitro, these children have been brain damaged. They've gotten ADHD. They're coming off drugs. They've got cerebral palsy. One of her sons that she adopted is going on a trip with Make-A-Wish, going on a cruise. His life expectancy is 21 years old, but he's thriving. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man, and we just love these. And I just found out yesterday that she's got two more little girls that I have just fallen in love with, and the father gave away rights, and she's going to be adopting them too. So this will make her 10 children that she's adopted, and she's so good with these children, and she gives them a life like they need. They get everything that we get. School, they get education, they get church, they get movies, they go shopping. Everything that we do, Carolyn provides for these children, and I just really appreciate it. So my challenge to you is to be a disability advocate. And what that means is you go out and you pick out a disability you'd like to work with, whether it's mental illness, whether it's ADHD, or a post-traumatic stress disorder. Get trained in that field. And then what you do is you set up an office and you start working with folks. You could be a job trainer. You could be a job coach. You can volunteer and do these things. Get out there and support folks with disabilities, because in my estimation, we all have some type, and I would love it if somebody would support me, and wouldn't you love it if somebody supported you? So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something. God bless, and Merry Christmas.